What's up, people? Back with another reaction, back with some more of The Grid. And we're back for the penultimate tune on 456 from 1992. Thank you once again to Kim. I did want to mention, I just did a watch along for a Soft Cell documentary from 2018 called Say Hello, Wave Goodbye. It's over on my Patreon for the next, I think, 5 or 6 days. It's still embargoed for full members only, so if you're a monthly member, you can watch it right now. If you're just a free subscriber, you'll have to wait another week or so. But the point is, there's a small part of it where they talk about the period after this Last Night in Sodom, and there's a brief interview section with Dave and Richard Norris, and they talk about The Grid. So yes, in the larger context of the full film, the full documentary, it's a very small part. But it was nice to see, and to see Dave interacting with Richard, and they were saying that they could actually go long periods of not talking to each other, not being involved, but when they would get into the studio together, there was an easy chemistry, and they were able to work with each other very well, so I enjoyed seeing that. In any case, the second to last tune on 456 is Leave Your Body, which I guess is inherently through the prism of Cartesian dualism, the idea that in living creatures, or at least specifically, I guess, if we're talking about Descartes, but yeah, in humans, there's this essence, there's this metaphysical spirit that is distinct from the body. And obviously, that relates to philosophical and scientific viewpoints, but going with the phrase of the title, the idea that that spirit could leave your body, whether at death, and thus your body would die, but you in some metaphysical sense would live on. But I think sometimes people talk about as if they were, looking at their body, as if their spirit had left their body for some temporary period, whether because of, some psycho-emotional intensified state, maybe because of some neurochemical stimulation. Nevertheless, I feel like there is possibly an indication here that there might be some heavenly or ethereal type of vibe sonically, which would fit the idea of, some spirit leaving a physical body. In any case, I will try to catch any lyrics that may be part of the tune. This is The Grid. The song is Leave Your Body, and it's the second to last track on their 1992 album 456. like that a lot. It had this sort of tribal, down-tempo trip-hop vibe. Not really lyrics per se, and indeed I think that male vocal was like sampled from something, but there was also that female vocal in the latter stages, which had this soulful, not quite operatic, but like ethereal, soulful quality to it. And I feel like maybe that was more likely recorded for the tune. Maybe that was also sampled from some other record. Nevertheless, I very much enjoyed this one, and the idea of the leaving your body, I think it is referencing, souls and spirits, and even making reference, I think, to ether. I think that was that repeated word ether, which, the ether, that which is, again, metaphysical, not bound by the world of chemistry and physics and, the molecular world. Say that 3 times fast. But yes, ultimately, what would you like to do the most is, leave your body. Maybe the idea that it's not necessarily about death, though that could also be one way you could leave your body in that context. But maybe the idea of wishing you could like astrally project yourself or something like that. So either way, I enjoyed, as I said, the atmosphere. It's interesting. There was that like 4-chord like keyboard flourish, which the first couple times around it would go up and it had more of a consonant sound. And then the next time, it would start to go up, and then it would sort of go up and down, and it had more of a dissonant, like, tension-filled, uncomfortable feel. So I enjoyed the dynamic, melodic expression or flow of the tune. And yeah, again, it's interesting, the material I've heard from them so far. Sometimes I've been surprised when there's more lyrics than I expected. Sometimes I'm surprised when it's more of like a mood, like, transitional sonic art type piece. And then here, it's not like a 4 to the floor, like house type track, but instead this like down tempo trip hop type tune. So even within a couple albums, and even saying that a lot of their music is like electronic and or dance oriented, there's a lot of variety within that. So very, very cool. Let me know what you think. Thank you again to Kim for the grid material, both for telling me about them, indicating to me that Dave did this after the initial run of Soft Cell ended, and also for supplying the goods, as it were. So yeah, let me know what you think. I will see you next time. Peace.